Saturday on Denver 7. Budgets are tighter this year, so families in the metro are making tough choices while trying to celebrate the holidays.
A huge influx of families reaching out saying, I've never needed to get help before and I don't know how to access help. What do I do?
When and where you can find some essentials to help make ends meet. It's been almost 1 year since the Marshall Fire took everything from hundreds of people in Boulder County.
I think it's a little bit more difficult with having the Marshall Fire happening so close to Christmas and the New Year.
How the community is offering up support during this emotional time of year. Plus, a high school senior using his free time to volunteer.
Volunteering at a young age is what helps gain the perspective of what it's really like in the world.
His journey that led him to becoming an everyday hero.
So proud of him. We'll have more on him a little bit later on in the show. Good morning. Welcome to Denver 7 News. I'm Jessica Crawford.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Thank you so much for joining us. Here are some stories we're following for you this weekend. Colorado doctors say today is the day to get vaccinated against flu and COVID before holiday gatherings because it does take 2 weeks for most vaccines to be effective. More than 300 Coloradans were hospitalized for the flu just last week, and there have even been 1,700 RSV-related hospitalizations since October. The state health department says we are on track to surpass last year's flu numbers. You can find both flu and COVID shots at your neighborhood pharmacy. There's also more information on our state's COVID response page.
Well, interim Aurora Police Chief Art Acevedo is now done with his first week on the job. He comes to the city from Miami, where he was fired as police chief over controversy in the Internal Affairs Unit. Now in Aurora, he said he's going to lead by example, and he started on the streets of Aurora last night.
I picked this because I still love policing. I still love cops. Tonight I'll be on patrol in black and white. I cannot wait to be out there. I want to be able to speak to this public based on my own observations. And just being here in just the last couple trips here, I've talked to a lot of officers, and we're gonna tell their story.
Interim Chief Acevedo said he'll be on patrol New Year's Eve as well. As a Cuban American, he's the first bilingual interim police chief for the city.
All right, a heads up, if you drive C-470, work is impacting the eastbound C-470 off-ramp to Santa Fe. Santa Fe, we know, is a major route to homes and businesses. Well, the C-470 off-ramp has been closed since Thursday night, and it will remain closed until Monday morning at 6 a.m. During this time, crews will move a water line and reconstruct the off-ramp. This work is all part of the US 85 widening and reconstruction project from Highlands Ranch Parkway to north of C-470. We did check with our traffic expert, Jason Luber, and he says the best detour is Lucent to County Line Road to go north, or Lucent to Town Center Drive to go south. Just about 7 a.m. and taking a live look outside for you on this beautiful Saturday morning. Very little cloud coverage statewide. We will stay dry for this weekend for the most part. Could see little mountain activity, but the next big storm is set to arrive as we start next week. So hopefully you can get out and maybe do any last minute decorating or Christmas shopping, whatever it is you have on tap for this weekend. Weather should cooperate nicely. Radar and satellite showing mostly clear skies, statewide dry conditions. Temperatures are cold out there right now. We're seeing some single digits and below zero readings in the mountains, and teens in Denver up through Greeley, low 20s in Akron. Your metro area planner for today. This morning it's going to stay mostly sunny, chilly, still below freezing by 9. By noon, getting to the low to mid 40s, and daytime highs will be back to around 50 degrees today. We'll talk more about this big storm system set to roll into the state, dropping our temperatures a lot and bringing in widespread snow still to come.
Well, it's no secret shopping for the holidays this year is expensive, and that's putting some metro families in a bind to get essentials while also trying to provide gifts for their loved ones. Denver 7's Brandon Richard is live now. And Brandon, there's a place that people can go today for help with bridging this gap.
Yeah, that's right. The holiday giveaway, it starts at 10 o'clock this morning here at Spencer Garrett Park in Aurora, and organizers are expecting a pretty big crowd today because they say the need is just so great. Now, We Cycle is teaming up with the Aurora Police Department as well as Secor Cares and other organizations to provide a holiday shopping experience for families today. Families can come out and get food, baby supplies, including diapers and formula, as well as toys. Organizers say this year a generous donor also donated 300 newly wrapped gifts for children. Now, they say this time of year the need is always great, but even more so this year due to rising prices.
This time of year, it's just those phone calls of families saying, hey, we need support. And if you guys can't help connect us with gifts, we may not be able to provide a holiday experience for our children, which is heartbreaking.
And organizers say Old St. Nick will be making an appearance today to help cheer everyone up. Again, it gets underway. This giveaway gets underway at 10 o'clock this morning here at Spencer Garrett Park in Aurora. Organizers say you might want to bring bags, maybe several bags, even a wagon to carry all the items they're giving away today. And they are expecting a line, so they say you want to make sure that you get in line early. Live in Aurora this morning, Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
Going to be a good day for a lot of families. Thank you, Brandon. Well, Denver 7 is making sure that local children have a happy holiday. So for the third year, we're teaming up with the Denver Mayor's Office for the Joy of Giving event this weekend. Our Denver 7 morning team went a little over budget shopping at the Walmart in Lakewood. They bought $3,800 worth of toys for the 800 families who registered. Those toys will go to 3,000 children at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science on Sunday.
We are now approaching 1 year since the Marshall Fire, which damaged and destroyed more than 1,000 homes and turned so many lives upside down in our community.
Yeah, an anniversary like this one can bring new trauma to survivors. And as Denver 7's Rob Harris shows us, community leaders have been preparing for this.
I used to love the wind, but as you go through, there's triggers. Wind in your face for those sometimes are triggers for a lot of us that have gone through this.
It's called the anniversary effect, a form of PTSD that's triggered at the same time of year as a traumatic event. For survivors of the Marshall Fire, the 1-year anniversary of their traumatic event is approaching, along with the Colorado December weather that surrounded it.
The brain is built to keep us safe. And so the brain is like, this was a dangerous time of year. This is something where something traumatic happened again. And so it revs the body and the brain back into that fight or flight mode.
Marshall Fire survivors have extra reminders the time is close. Not just the calendar and the weather, but also the signs of the season meant to bring them peace and joy.
I think it's a little bit more difficult. With having the Marshall Fire happening so close to Christmas and the New Year's, I have 3 children. Trying to decorate for the holiday season and not having all those historical things or their stockings that for our family that they grew up with are emotional times for them.
All throughout the Marshall Fire's path, there are signs of rebuilding, signs of healing.
We will always be connected and bonded in a way that nobody understands.
This weekend is officially being dubbed the Weekend of Healing, with community ceremonies, meals, guided meditations, and walks to reflect.
Just stopping and taking time to be able to feel those emotions, to be able to allow you to have those emotions and take a quiet time to reflect, just to be and feel whatever you're feeling.
For Denver 7,
it's priceless.
I'm Rob Harris.
And going deeper now on mental health, psychologists say these signs show it may be time to consider getting professional help. Your anxiety or grief is impacting your ability to sleep, interrupting your ability to complete normal daily tasks. Activities that normally help you feel calm no longer provide relief. If you need to talk to someone, call 1-844-4393-TALK, that number right there on your screen.
And as Rob just explained, this weekend is being called a weekend of healing for Marshall Fire victims. Well, this morning, there is a moonset walk at 8 a.m. and 2 yoga classes.
It's super important to take care of yourself during this time. So hopefully we'll have a great turnout and help people get through this very challenging time. We'll have mental health support available all weekend, counselors on site. We'll have AccuDetox available to anyone who would like it.
And tomorrow there's a community walk to heal at 11 a.m. You can learn more on the Boulder County website. Search for Marshall Fire commemoration.
Well, if you can believe it, it has now been 1 year since the death of Demarius Thomas. He passed away on December 9th of 2021. Well, the Broncos are honoring DT with a pretty cool collection of stories and interviews and a documentary they're calling The Heart of a Legend. That'll debut today on their YouTube channel.
The president of FIFA is sharing his condolences this morning after an American journalist covering the World Cup died yesterday. Grant Wall's agent said he died of acute distress at 49 years old. He was in Qatar covering the World Cup, and during Argentina's game against the Netherlands, Wall reportedly fell back in his seat in the press box. Emergency services workers responded quickly. Reporters on the scene were then told Wall had died. This comes after Wall posted a column discussing the Qatari government's reaction to the death of a migrant worker. And he was also detained earlier during the tournament for wearing a rainbow shirt that he wore in support of his brother, who is gay. There are reports of Wall going to a hospital in Qatar for what they thought was bronchitis. We'll be following the developments of this story.
Well, back here stateside, WNBA star Brittney Griner is settling back on U.S. soil after nearly 10 months in a Russian prison. Officials say she's in good spirits, appears to be in good health, and was receiving medical care. The process, called reintegration, to help Americans detained overseas transition to life back home and decompress. Griner's been given physical checkups and access to psychologists after her 10 months as a Russian prisoner. And in Arizona, her coach of the Phoenix Mercury is overjoyed.
We have so much joy. Our entire organization, our players, our team, all the people who've worked so hard behind the scenes, including the great civil servants, we're so happy.
Russian authorities sentenced Griner to 9 years behind bars for traveling with hashish oil. It's a substance that is banned there and it's illegal. President Biden is now getting some backlash for the prisoner swap that brought Griner home. That's because the release of former Marine Paul Whelan, imprisoned for espionage charges, is still up in the air. The White House is vowing to keep trying to bring him home.
Denver is on the front line of cities in the U.S. working to remove lead pipes from our infrastructure. We're breaking down the big-time funding the city just got from the feds to help make this possible.
And CDOT's director is making history with his new title, the move he's making to our nation's capital, coming up.